side. I take a bad situation's gonna make it alright. In the shadows so dark as I stand in the light. You see, it's
All right. This is my, I'm going to keep looking at the wrong thing. This is my newest update. What is it? June 4th, 2020. COVID-19 edition. This is going to be long. I'm not going to apologize. I don't care. I'm telling what's been going on with me and my cancer and my treatment since the last update in March. And a lot has been going on. A lot of crazy wackiness. I'm leaving Roswell right now. I've got my mask. Not allowed inside the hospital without the mask. So I can take the mask off and ta-da! I got my COVID beard. My COVID-19 beard. Unfortunately, I was already doing shelter in place for a month before I decided to stop shaving. So I would have had a month more on this if I had decided to do it when I first started. All right, again, I'll try to stay on topic, no guarantees. If you don't have the patience or just don't care enough to watch, I totally understand. Plus it's, some of it's bummer stuff, and the last thing we really need in our lives is more bummer stuff. But I will say that, spoiler for anyone who just doesn't have the patience, I get it, and I'm alive. I'm still kicking. See you next time. For the rest of anyone who is still watching, holy sheesh, I don't even know where to begin. I don't know, a while ago, 6 weeks ago, let's say, I started getting worse bone pain. Just a really quick recap. Lung cancer, stage 4, primary tumor is in the right lung. The lymph nodes all over the place have tumors. And then metastasized into my pelvic bone, both femurs, my spine, my ribs. And there's some more new stuff to share. So that's where it was. I was feeling, I had radiation last year. It took away most of my bone pain, not all of it, most of it in the hips. That was really making it hard for me to walk, especially get up and get down. So I felt the pain. I knew the cancer was on the move. That's never a good sign. We're using that as sort of a gauge. I contacted Roswell, went in, had the, everything, MRI, CT, everything I had to do. And they decided to go ahead and give me new doses of radiation to a new, it wasn't a new metastasis spot, but it was newly regenerated, I don't know, it was moving. It was on the move. It's hurting me. So I got that radiation, and at the same time, that pain hit, I woke up one morning. I had lost at least 75% of my hearing in my left ear, and I already have tinnitus. I know it's supposed to be tinnitus, but bullcrap. I call BS on that, tinnitus. And so I've had that since Backstreet days. I've had that since rock days back in all the concerts. How many of us were standing up at the stacks, just having that freaking. So I've had tinnitus forever now, but now it was crazy loud. So I knew something was wrong. So they did the MRI, and sure enough, they found 7 tumors in my brain. And, I think when we first hear that, I know when I first heard that, I thought, well, shit, I'm dead. And that's not the case. Actually, the bone metastases are more dangerous to my life right now than the brain, just because of where they were. 6 of the 7 were in nondescript locations, but one was right up against 2 nerves. One was for hearing in my left ear, and I guess these 2 nerves run along each other. I don't know. Or in a bundle. I don't know what the hell it is, but they said hearing and the facial nerve. So, we've got to zap these suckers. And it's called gamma knife surgery, and holy cow. First of all, you hear gamma knife and that doesn't sound good. No blood involved. I will tell you I've already gone through it, so that's behind me. I'll tell you what the deal was. It's actually insane. It's 192 gamma lasers working simultaneously in a ring around your head. I know I'm driving, but this is just a bad habit that I picked up. Sorry, if you're a young driver, don't copy my examples. So now 192 gamma, of course, gamma rays. I'm thinking, right? Hulk, Incredible Hulk. Something's going to happen to me soon. 192. They all pinpoint hit that one tumor. So one by one, it was a 2-hour procedure. I had my head screwed into a cage. I've got little holes. You probably can't see. I had a little hole, like 4 holes, 2 in front, 2 in back. And this was the day before yesterday that happened. Somewhat traumatic, but also very just incredible. Seeing this technology at work, these doctors, there were 3 doctors and I think 3 techs or 3 other people who I'm not sure if they were doctors or techs or what, all working simultaneously on me. It was like walking into the bridge of Star Trek. It was insane. I couldn't believe how sci-fi it was. And then they lock you in place and then see you in 2 hours, and it was fine. Except for the last half hour, I really had to freaking pee. And I held it as long as I could, and finally I was like, I don't know if anyone can hear me, but I really got to pee. And then like a magic voice just sort of, we got 10 more minutes. Can you hold it? And I'm like, okay, but it's going to be close. And it was close. It was, and then you know, that's very uncomfortable. Other than that, didn't feel a thing. Now I thought it was going to be an immediate, I was going to find out any potential side effects. Because if you get brain swelling, depending on where the tumors are, it can affect it can affect your body. It's obviously our brain. And they said I could lose my hearing 100%. I could lose the facial nerves 100%, like I've had a stroke, but only in the face and not the full body. It could be, not 100%. It could be 50%, 50%, 50%. Could be anything. We don't know. It could be permanent. Maybe it won't be. It's just that, let's see what happens. So now I've got these gamma particles, gamma, whatever that gamma is. All of those 7 tumors in my brain were zapped 2 days ago, and he said the side effects will be weeks to months later. So let's see what happens with that. I could go deaf in I could end up going deaf in my left ear. I could end up with palsy in the left side of my face. I'm always wearing a mask in public now, so plus I have the beard, probably wouldn't be as noticeable. I'm going to just say if I have to pick one of the two, I'm picking the palsy. Because I'm not out, looking for dates or, giving a shit how I really look. And I like to hear in stereo. I actually really like to hear surround, but stereo at least. So, yeah. Fingers crossed on that. So that was my whole Gamma Knife adventure. Now I'm going to jump back a little bit to when they first told me, it was a week earlier, they told me that I had the tumors. They told me I had the one tumor that was up against those 2 nerves. The problem with those 2, that location is it was in fluid. It wasn't in brain matter. It wasn't in bone. So they had to make sure that I didn't have cancer in my spinal fluid. Anyone who knows me has already heard this story, so, it is what it is. In my youth, probably when the movie This Is Spinal Tap came out and I learned what a spinal tap was, I said to myself, if I ever have to get a spinal tap, you can just check me out, because you're not ever sticking a freaking needle in my spine. I'll just let myself go. When you are actually faced with the prospect, all right, sticking a needle in my spine is better than dying. So I went through the spinal tap, and I'll say it wasn't that bad. 2 shots of Novocaine, the Novocaine, we know what it feels like when you get shot up with Novocaine. And then they take the spinal fluid. I will say right now, I came up clean. I can't even believe it. We all thought that there was going to be cancer in my spinal fluid. So I have cancer friggin' in my lung, in my lymph nodes, in my bones, in my brain. Not in my spinal fluid. So that was I really feel like that was a miniature miracle. You guys know I'm not religious, but holy cow, if there are miracles, because this tumor is floating in that fluid, it really doesn't have any business being there. So the fact that it is there and I don't have other cancer cells in my spinal fluid is outstanding. Okay. Now the bad news, cautionary tale for anyone. If you or anyone you know ever has to get a spinal tap, I walked out of there like, that was nothing. They do it, They make you lay down for a half hour. They tell you to go home and lay down. How many of us, after the doctor tells us to go home and relax, we don't? We just feel like that's what all doctors tell us for everything. They told me to go home, lay down for the rest of the day. I did not follow doctor directions. I laid down for a while. I felt okay. So I decided to go do a little bit of work in the garage. And man, did I pay the price. And it wasn't just that. They said there are other factors involved. Something to do with how much fat you have around your spine. Causes, more pressure on the outside of the spinal fluid area, more pressure on the inside of the spinal fluid area. Something can make it so there's more pressure in the spinal fluid area. So I ended up leaking spinal fluid into my body for 10 days. And when you leak spinal fluid into your body, for anyone who suffers from migraines, really bad migraines where nothing's going to save you, nothing's going to fix it. For me, it was triggered by motion. If I turned my head or if I moved anything, it just terrible motion sickness, terrible head. The headache was maybe the worst I've ever experienced. I have not thrown up. I am not kidding. I have not thrown up in over 20 years. No lie. The pain caused the nausea, caused the throwing up. It got me 3 times. I drove to Buffalo. I had to come to Buffalo for radiation treatment. It was my last one. And over that weekend, the nausea had gotten worse. Everything had gotten worse. It was Memorial Day weekend, so they weren't open Monday. I show up Tuesday. They give me my last dose of radiation on my hip, or on my pelvic bone. And I'm telling them, I could barely get here. I threw up twice on the way here. I've got a terrible headache from that freaking spinal tap. And they sent me home with Tylenol. My mom had to drive from Buffalo to Rochester to pick me up. I had to leave my car in Buffalo. And they sent me home with Tylenol. So, Francesca Googles this and finds that if you are suffering from these crippling headaches, if you're getting this side effect from a spinal tap, then you need to go back for a simple procedure called a blood patch. So a blood patch it sounds almost too simplistic, but it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a reverse spinal tap. They go in, do everything the same way, except they give you an IV, take out some of your blood, inject it into the cavity where the spinal fluid is, and then I think it's just outside of the cavity where the spinal fluid is, but it's the hole something's been leaking. I'm not a doctor, but they inject the blood into it. Blood has platelets. The platelets seal the hole. It's like Fix-A-Flat for your spinal fluid. Is exactly what it is. It's called a blood patch. The relief was almost immediate. And by the time I walked out, I talked to them. I said, look, I was here, and this was on Tuesday of the following week. And I said, I was here last Thursday. It had been, I don't know, whatever day. It had been days. And I said, they sent me home. The radiation doctor sent me home with Tylenol. And they knew that this was from the spinal tap. So, is this directly about my cancer? No, but I don't give a crap. I'm telling the story, and I don't care how long it takes. Good news was there was no cancer in the spinal fluid, and I learned a lot. And I want to share this with people so you can share this with people, because these are experiences that most people do not go through. And I'm in a cancer group, Gilda's Club in Rochester, and I'm telling you, first of all, Gilda's Club is amazing. Here's my shameless plug for Gilda's Club, because the group and the club and the resources there have been so just amazingly outstanding, and I love everyone. My group is outstanding. I love my group, and we talk. And now it's all Zoom, but we talk in our group meetings. And I asked the group. There's like 15 of us. So who's had a spinal tap? Tell me what to expect. And nobody had one. And so I felt like, okay, well, I guess I'm the person who gets to experience it first in the group, and now I can relay what the process is. And so that's why I'm going to share whatever the heck I want to share, however long it takes. Plus, I just feel like talking. Okay, so that's my radiation. That's my spinal tap. That's my blood patch. That's my gamma knife surgery. Going back in 2 months for new MRIs. I will say the cage was somewhat traumatic. I'm not going to say, it wasn't pleasant. The doctor, as he's fitting it, it's 3 people and those 4 screws, and they literally it's Novocaine and start screwing. It goes through the skin into the skull, and they dope you up. They gave me 200 milligrams of fentanyl, and I don't know if I've ever had fentanyl. It was a sucker. It was hilarious. And I'm sitting here sucking on it, and I'm making a joke because I didn't even really know what fentanyl was. And then afterwards, I was talking with Francesca about it, and she was like, "Yeah, it's serious shit." So I was joking with him, and I'll admit I was a little bit high when I showed up. Of course, I was gonna, use my marijuana before I went and had all this stuff done. So I said to him, "Hey, do you have an extra one for me to take home?" And he sort of chuckled at me, and didn't really respond. I guess if I had known how serious fentanyl abuse is, I wouldn't have made that joke. But so I was doped up. I was doing whatever. And the doctor just said 2 words: say sharp or pressure. Those are the only 2 words I want you to say. If you say sharp as they're screwing it in, they inject you with more Novocaine. And then the Novocaine hurts, but then it doesn't. I was like, all right. And then it's just pressure. And so I guess when you feel the pressure, they let up and they start doing the other ones until you have sort of equal pressure. It was interesting. I have pictures. I don't know if I want to post pictures of that, but because me being a goofball, I'm sitting there taking selfies and knocking on it and grabbing it, and I feel, I sent a picture to my brother, and Matt, he's talking about Bane from DC. Bane, anyone who knows Bane, Batman. Of course, we're all talking about Hulk because gamma rays. And now today I went in, and this is the latest stuff. 2 months I'll find out about what's going on with that. Hopefully my hearing and my face sag won't become a thing, but we'll see. So today, all that finished 2 days ago, and just so happens today, June 4th, was the day that I was just scheduled months ago to come in for my just regular CT scans and talk to my oncologist, and let's see what's going on. Okay, so the reason my metastases started acting up in the first place is because my cancer has developed a resistance to my current targeted chemotherapy, Alecensa. I'm not going to tell you all the medical names. I don't know if I have you, and I don't know what it's called. So this is what happens. I didn't do chemo. I went to the targeted chemotherapy because I had a mutation, the ALK mutation in my lung cancer, allowed me to go to my targeted chemo, which is why I still have hair. It lasted about a year, and that's what happens with these mutation drugs. I talked more to my oncologist about it today, so I know a little bit more about it that I can share. Just these drugs in general, they're again, targeted chemo drugs are different than chemo. Chemo just freaking poisons everything and hopes that the cancer goes with it. Targeted chemo is exactly what it sounds like. It doesn't target everything. It is, because I have a specific mutation, it will target that specific mutation. It is mind-boggling what science is doing right now with cancer. If I had this cancer 10 years ago, I am confident. I'm not confident I'd be dead because I've only been diagnosed for 2 years. But I can tell you that these 2 years would have been much less pleasant because I believe I would have gone right to chemotherapy, and we all know what that looks like. So they're putting me on a new one. They found a second mutation, which is, I love Roswell so much. I know everyone. You have to find the hospital that works for you. Roswell dropped the ball with the spinal tap and the blood patch, but I honestly believe. And some of their doctors, their bedside manner sucks. I'm sorry. My primary oncologist is okay, but some of them, she's okay. But some of them, and I find it mostly in radiology. I'm not sure, radiation. I'm not sure why. Their bedside manner is just sort of non-existent. They are there to do what they need to do, and I'm cool with that. I would rather have that than having a super friendly doctor that I love every time I go see him. He's awesome, but I don't feel like I'm getting that cutting edge, state-of-the-art technology, and that's what I feel like I'm getting at Roswell. Another shameless plug. Okay, so with this new drug, I wish I could. I brought here it is. The new drug is a targeted therapy drug called, I I've got it on my sheet right here. It is. Come on, it's got to be right here. All right. Well, starts with an L. I'm not going to sit here and try to read while I'm driving. But anyways, it is along the same lines as my Alecensa. Talked to my oncologist. We can expect it to last, to work for about a year. And, you know, I'm 52. A year, yeah, okay. I mean, it's better than nothing. I'm not like, holy shit, only a year. That's the plan. I'm on this new drug for a year. It potentially has some side effects that aren't great, but I'm not going to get into that. If I have them, I'll let you know in the next update. But we can expect it to hopefully keep the cancer at bay for a year. I'm starting it tomorrow. I went in today for my CT, talked to Dr. D, my primary oncologist, and her and I were shooting the shit a little bit more today about, I was drawing when she walked in. I'll do a little offshoot before I talk about what happened with my CT scans today. I know we're at 20 minutes, don't care. I have noticed, and people have agreed, that when I draw, or when my monocyte character, and I don't know how much editing I feel like doing on this. I gotta be honest, I don't feel like doing much, but if I feel like it, I'll put up a picture of my monocyte character. But the monocyte character, he looks a little bit like a coronavirus cell, so I don't want that. So I decided today, I've decided earlier, but I started working on it today. I decided to start drawing a COVID creature. So Dr. D walked in while I was drawing my COVID creature. All right. He's going to be, I'm probably going to color him once I finish him. He's just a sketch. But once I color him, I'll finish him, I'll scan him in, I'll color him in Photoshop, and then I'll add him to the thumbnail for the YouTube. So this is the basis of my COVID creature. So he'll have arms. His hands will look like the 3-prong because they have these like triangular things that grow out of them. They're really weird looking. I actually think for a creature, it's a sort of a cool design. So, and you guys know I like drawing the monsters more than the heroes. So, you know, I'm talking to Dr. D a bit about cancer care coloring, and said, look, if you just go onto YouTube and put in my name or whatever. Friend me on Facebook. I say yes to everyone as long as you're a real person. On Facebook, friends. So that's cool. Promoting myself a little bit. Didn't mean to be, since I'm still on hold with Cancer Care Coloring Illustrations. Still waiting to find out if I'm going to get the fellowship in July, which would basically be the $7,000 to create the coloring book. I am feeling pretty good right now that the blood patch has done what it had to do and the radiation to the pelvic bone has done what it has to do. My pains, generally my pains in my hips area. So right now my pain level is at a 1-ish, maybe 2. If I turn my leg, twist my leg the wrong way and I just feel it. Just reminds me that it's there, but I could totally live with it. Okay. So that was cool. Here's my little extra plug for Cancer Care Coloring, but obviously don't need to really plug it right here. Unless you're watching it on Facebook or somewhere else, I don't know. Or on the website, I don't know. I'm going to try to put these on my website too eventually. So the scans today came back good. How the frick did they come back good? My cancer is on the move. The bone metastasis is growing. I have 7 new tumors in my brain. And my primary tumor is the same freaking size. It's 14 millimeters. 14 millimeters. Not that big. It's at the largest, it's been 21. And it's down to 14. So the Alecensa was working. It shrunk it down some. And now it's been stable. Actually, I think it might have, whatever. It's been stable. So it's sort of, it's like, what the heck is going on? How is it that all this other cancer, the offshoots, are still doing what they're doing, but the primary is just sort of sitting there just chilling? But that's good. I mean, when you have stage 4 cancer, stable is good. I don't expect this stuff to disappear. It won't disappear. I will never be cancer free. That's just the way it is. I accept it. And I'm okay with it. I've come to terms with it. Stable's good. So she showed me the scans. I was all ready for okay, let's see what kind of shit show we're going to see now. Nothing. Nothing. Everything looked the same from 3 months ago. So it's sort of mind-boggling to me that what's going on in my life that just made the bone metastases and the brain tumors just flare up. We have the pandemic going on, man. We've got a lot of extra stress in our lives. If you don't think that stress affects your health and stuff like cancer and tumors, then I think you're nuts. It does. It absolutely does. There's nothing you could ever say that would convince me otherwise. Our mindset, the positivity or the negativity around us, it all helps or hurts us. And I believe because of the trials and tribulations that I have been going through over the past 2 years, but the past 6, 7, 8 months have been really bad. And those of you who know me closely know everything. It's been a tough 6, 7, 8 months. Things are starting to settle. I feel overall pretty good about stuff. I am letting my beard go maybe till forever. I am of sound mind, I believe. I've been talking for 26 minutes. I believe that anyone who watches this video, and I'm driving at the same time, relatively safely. So I believe anyone who sees this video can attest to my sound. I am of sound mind. Shoot, why did I bring that up? Maybe my mind isn't as sound as I thought it was. Shoot. If I could play back the video, it would remind me why I brought it up. I'm sure those of you watching are going, duh, you just said it. No, sorry, man, I lost it. Between the marijuana, the gabapentin, which is a painkiller, it's not a narcotic or an opioid, but it affects nerve.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Nobody ever does. I guess most of the people who know me closely, you just ask me and I tell you. But if anyone ever has any questions about anything I'm going through, anything I have gone through, Gilda's Club, Roswell, cancer, marijuana, whatever. If you have questions about any of that, I'm 2 years in. And anyone who has gone through cancer knows, they can attest to this. You learn a lot. You learn a lot when you go through this. And that's why I think the cancer groups are so important, because there's other people who usually will have gone through stuff similar to or the same as what you will have to go through. And those resources and just sort of having that is invaluable. So, all right, I'm rambling. If you made it this long, thank you so much for taking the time. If you didn't, then you're not watching and piss off. Not really. I probably wouldn't be able to watch this long myself. The attention span. All right, so thank you so much. Listen, if you haven't, I'm going to say it again, because again, this is made for YouTube. Please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel. Please consider liking and subscribing, even better. I know I'm not promoting the channel too much right now, but I have a feeling that's going to be changing soon, especially if I get that fellowship in July. And I feel like I've got a solid year ahead of me as long as I don't get really bad side effects. So I'm going to start my urban exploration up again tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Mike and I, if you haven't found our page, it's the Rochester Urban Exploration, I believe. Mike made the page, but I'm an admin. We're going to go explore the vacuum oil refinery plant tomorrow, which is my buddy Chris's old place from back in the day, back in the early 90s, back in the mid 90s. He was living in this old oil refinery plant, and now it's abandoned, and we're going to go check it out tomorrow. So things are starting to seem normal. They're not, but feeling a little bit. I hope everyone's doing well. This has been such a trying 3 months. Oh my God. I mean, how many times have we said it's like we're living in a freaking movie? This doesn't even seem like it can be real. And I'm not going to get into politics or anything like that, but all I can say is thank God I live in New York. And that's with all the cases in New York City. Thank God I live in New York. Okay. Thank you so much. I am out. Love you all. Peace.